Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Sense of Fidelity proudly presents to you what we call this Black Pill Monday. Welcome to Clown Planet Daily Wrap Up. It is approximately 10 p.m. Accidentally started at 10 p.m. I tried starting this at 9, and now it's 10. The reason why it took so long, obviously, life, kids, all that. Was trying to get it on at 4 again. Didn't make it. We didn't even get to play the Cunningham Pickleball Special. But I had to cut myself off. You see how many links there are up there? It's been that nutty for the last. I almost did a show Saturday because of all the stuff that was going on Saturday after we got done Friday into Saturday before Sunday. Obviously, I didn't get through. I mean, I didn't get to bed till 2 on Saturday. Up at 5:30 to get the mass. 6. Yeah, I took a nap Saturday. I was so tired from the whole week, anyways. And I do grounding, so I haven't had a nap since I started grounding, except for last week. Anyways, so now it's 10 o'clock. Like I said, accidentally took me an hour to prep. 15th of September, 2025. Well, happy Our Lady of Sorrows Feast Day. Let's get right to it. Throw anything in the chat. Try to keep it on topic. I mean, last couple times I love everyone saying, going off on like gardening and things like that, but this could easily be a 10-hour show. Easily. Let's start with some softballs. Glenn Greenwald reporting that he's not reporting, but he's commenting on the Paramount Sundance prepares Ellison-backed bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. The majority of the planned bid for Warner will be made up of cash. Cash, baby. That was September 11th. As Greenwald says, Larry Ellison just passed Elon Musk to become the world's richest person. He has donated millions in foreign military, the IDF, millions to the foreign military, and other Israeli causes. Now his equally fanatical pro-Israel son is buying Paramount CBS for Barry Weiss to run and trying to do the same for CNN. Do you remember what we talked about last week? Go back to Friday about the 8th front war that Israel's talking about. Media, propaganda, all that stuff. Guarantee you're going to see some pro-Israel shows in that thing. They'll probably have some shows that make anybody that speaks out look like a bunch of bozos. Here's another one. Paramount wants to make MTV cool again. Good luck with that. If you want to read any of this, it'll be underneath in the show notes. I would read more of it. There's a lot to get through, so I'll just blow past that. Another shutdown looming as GOP Democrats clash over stopgap funding bill. With just over 2 weeks until yet another episode in government funding distraction theater, Congress is bracing for a high-stakes showdown that could once again bring the federal government to the brink of a shutdown. Dun, dun, dun. Every 3-4 months? Dun, dun, dun. We're going to shut down. Oh, the sky's going to fall down. Sky's going to fall. Nothing ever happens. Unless you're on Snap, then you get worried about it. House Republicans this week plan to introduce a short-term measure known as the continuing resolution that would keep the government open until November 20th. Dun, dun, dun. Then we get another one. Got to give them some more money. We got to spend some more money, baby. But the proposal pointedly excludes provisions Democrats are demanding, particularly on health care, since, it's the government's role to be in health care. No, it's not. But they say it is. Senate Majority Leader Chucky Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries have said they will not support a stopgap that fails to address issues such as Medicaid cuts, or Affordable Care Act premium subsidies. If Republicans follow Donald Trump's orders to not even bother dealing with Democrats, they will be single-handedly putting our country on the path towards a shutdown. Shut it all down, baby. Close it up, board it up, put some nails in it, and call it a day. It'll hurt the hot dog guy down in the corner, I guess. But outside of that, I would love one day to see D.C. just be weeds everywhere. Beautiful weeds. Maybe nutritious weeds, but weeds. Trump threatens national emergency after D.C. mayor blocks cops from Helping Eyes. Once and future King President DJT on Monday threatened to declare a national emergency in Washington, D.C. after Mayor Muriel Bowser announced that D.C. police will no longer cooperate with federal immigration enforcement or planting daisies. What? If you don't get the daisy joke, you have to look last week. There was a lot of photos and articles saying that no one's really doing anything up there. They're actually like mulching, cutting the shrubs, planting some roses, things like that. I mean, you look at Fox News, you think these guys are being, laying down the law. They're actually being, as the article said, expensive gardeners. I know you're not supposed to question whatever the TV tells you. I get it. Look last week, I think it might have been on Wednesday or Thursday. We talked about that one. Expensive gardeners. Their words. Just do a search. Type in expensive gardeners, DC, National Guard, blah. You'll see it. Back to the lady that everyone forgot about because of what happened on the was it Thursday that because of the Charlie Kirk shooting. New bill could punish lenient judges following Charlotte train stabbing. A newly introduced bill threatens to punish judges who refuse to impose tough sentences on dangerous criminals. Legislation called the Jail Act and introduced Friday by Representative Randy Fine. Of course, that guy is pretty much the worst human being on the planet outside of anybody named Netanyahu. Comes as a response to the killing of Ukrainian refugee around Zaruska. Okay, we're not going to go through it. We already know it. Here's Congressman Fine. As promised, I just introduced the Jail Act to hold corrupt judges accountable for releasing repeat offenders back into our streets. To the judges who released Carlos Brown Jr., you are the reason another innocent life was lost. This guy cares about life. Let me see if let me show you how much this, I'm trying. He's wearing a yarmulke. This guy cares about life. Let me see if they have anything on there. No, that's not it. He usually says something like, bomb them all or make sure the kids are dead or things like that. Where's it at? Well, he's doubling down on Charlie. Speak English period coming soon. Speak English bill. GOP bill access interpreter loophole in citizenship exam coming soon, says Randy. Read the article here. Oh, they actually have it. Speak English period. GOP bill access interpreter loopholes in citizen exam. There's I'm visiting the Holocaust Museum because he's a major Zionist. There's here. Let's see, Randy Fine bill. Let's see. Man, sorry I didn't think about that. Sure. Yeah, he is not a very nice guy. If you go through it, you'll see stuff like, someone talking about bombs being dropped, and he'll go, "Hey, I want more of it." California passes law banning ICE officers from wearing muzzles or masks. California legislators passed a bill that bans federal law enforcement officers from wearing masks while on duty with criminal penalties for noncompliance. Imagine what 4 years ago, people were getting arrested for not wearing it because we were lost our minds. Hence the birth of Clown Planet, when the planet went cuckoo. And now there's bills for the opposite. Now you get in it. Now if a nice person does wear one, you get arrested, which, hey, I'm fine with it. California passes whatever it wants to do. No, it's called federalism. The F word, a very good F word, federalism. California wants to do whatever. Fine. I don't live in California. If you don't like what California passes, move out of California or do something about California, which the problem with California is like the lack of representation of the federal government. You have 800,000 to 1 representation in the federal government for you. If you're any citizen listening right now and you look at your House of Representatives or Congress, that's your ratio. 800, maybe more. We're lowballing it. 800,000 to 1. You know what that means? You're not being represented. The best state, I think, is New Hampshire. Brian McClanahan goes through this in episode 10. is America too big? Or is maybe it's 12 that's talks about fear. Why is the fear in America? And he gets into it and he goes, California is like 80,000 to 1. I'm trying to ballpark some numbers. 100,000 to 1, it's the worst. And New Hampshire is the best, I think, at like 1,000 to 1, maybe, or maybe even less. It might be a couple hundred to 1. But yeah, the federal government, 800,000 to 1. Yeah, vote harder. You'll get absolute nobody listening to you anyways whatsoever. Focus on your states. We're getting into more of that anyways. Drone erupts over Israel's southern airport, now under repeat attack. This weekend saw a lot of drone action out of Yemen against Israel. This included Houthi military leadership claiming that 3 drones struck Ramman Airport in the southern city of Eilat, while the 4th allegedly hit a military installation in the Negev region. No Palestinian state. This place is ours. War criminal Bibi Netanyahu rejects UN two-state recognition. Of course he did. Who put $5 on that he said he was going to accept that? If you did, here, I need to make a bet with you. Call me up, text me, whatever. We need to start betting on things. If you bet on that, if somebody bet that Bibi was going to say oh yeah, we want that two-state solution. Be his favorite, be your friends with that guy, and never stop betting with him. You will end up paying for your life. You will pay for your dinner for the rest of your life because he'll be that bad of a gambler. Just kidding. Cespadilla is not up for gambling or anything like that, or anything game of chance, or anything that could be immoral, illegal, or fattening. Please. Now back to action. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has firmly rejected the idea of Palestinian statehood. At the moment, it is being pushed by the UN General Assembly, declaring, quote, there will be no Palestinian state. This land belongs to us. This land is my land. This land is not your land. Germany to add more than 100,000 troops to army in preparation for a war with Russia. War pigs, baby. Oh, let me get on anywar.com. Let me see what the war pigs news is. And let me think. Germany is adding 100,000 troops to army in preparation for war with Russia. So while you're being distracted over here with all these things coming at you, hate, you got to hate your neighbor. Hate thy neighbor is now a virtue. Everything like this going on. World War III is getting ginned up in Europe. I'm sorry, that's no laughing matter, but it's like, hey, time out. 300,000 Palestinians flee as IDF pounds Gaza City. You didn't see that on local news today, did you? IDF kills over 50 as it continues destruction campaign in Gaza City. Someone dying in Gaza is like someone breathing over here. It happens every second of the day. Former Israeli military chief admits 220,000 Gaza casualties. Did your local news lead off with a kitty in the tree? I mean, no one talks about this. Then Yahoo Rubio meet. Relations as durable as the Western Wall. I got video of that. It was one of those that your mouth dropped after everything that happened last week. If you weren't paying attention, seeing the alternative media, you were like, you would be like, your mouth dropped. You're like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Don't worry, it gets worse. Qatar, not just with this. Qatar, Israel killed any hope for release of Gaza captives in Gaza. Syria forces evict Alawites from Damascus area. House passes NDA and repeals Iraq war AUMS. We talked about that a little bit ago. Bill would also allow Rubio to revoke U.S. passport for aiding terrorism, which they can just say anytime they want. Ukrainian drone causes fire at Russian refinery. U.S. deploys MQR Reaper drone to Caribbean. Yay! Can't wait to destroy. You used to want to go to the Caribbean. Now they can't wait to blow it up for oil. Israel bombs media offices, kills 25 journalists in Yemen. Don't worry, there's plenty more coming. Oh, here's one. Pentagon tracking service members, civilians who celebrate Charlie Kirk killing. Think about that. I'll blow this one up a little bit more. Just in case you didn't get grasp what that means. Hexet says the Pentagon is tracking service member civilians who celebrate Kirk killing. Now, I'm not saying go out there, so that's a horrific idea to do that anyway. So just the lack of human decency to do that. But they're tracking. What? I mean, pre-crime? They're tracking you. They're tracking anybody that does anything like that. Then think about what's down the road. And just more of that. I was just looking over here at the side. Oh, by the way, yeah, the right's become the latest cancel culture. It was okay when the Dems were doing it. Now it's okay when the GOPers are doing it. We got to cancel everybody, cancel, say anything. We literally is flip sides. We talked about this how many times in the last couple of weeks. This every 2 to 4 weeks, someone's going to do here. This team's doing this, and then they go whoop, and then they go back, and then they go back, then they go back. It's amazing seeing what's going on right now. Trump warns his patience with Putin is running out fast. Once the future king President DJT has said that he's losing patience with Russian President Vladimir Putin and could issue new tariffs and sanctions to compel the Russian leader to enter ceasefire negotiations with Ukraine. He said running out fast. Because the other day, it was a Friday they did this? Yeah, Friday. He goes on Fox. And instead of just, calling in from D.C. or thing, no, he drives down to New York City, or up to New York City, and gets in the Fox News thing. And he says something we mentioned on Friday. He gets some things wrong, but none of these guys question anything, especially Bill Kilmeade, who actually, you probably have seen this when he talks about wanting to just pretty much just inject the homeless with anything and just let them die on the streets. Like, what? Time out. Wait a minute. Everybody else is getting canceled, and this guy gets a raise? MTG, God bless her, calls for the United States to be split up, declares country no longer safe for anyone. 1, it's not a country, and 2, yes, it needs to be split. I am pro-divorce on this. Oh, by the way, did you know she was going to be up for the December conference of TPUSA, Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA? Why is that significant? She is the most outspoken critic of Israel. There's more. Don't worry. Max Blumenthal brings that up in his latest thing with Judge Adrian Napolitano that he did a couple hours ago. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, if nasty, from Georgia, revived her calls for a national divorce on Monday, ominously warning that the American right and left have, quote, nothing left to talk about. They don't. We've been calling for this. They've actually talked about it during the Constitution, after the Constitution was written, before, during, after, decades after, even up until the war. They have nothing that no one has. We don't have anything in common with the Northeast, the South and Northeast. They were saying the South and the Northeast are 2 different places. 2 different. The Northeast was puritanical and atheist, and only cared about greed. While the South was Christian, cared about the family life, farming, all that other stuff. The things that we like to talk about, but we just don't want. We just still want to live with the other guys for some reason. Greene sparked controversy in February in 2023 when she wrote on X, "We need a national divorce." We still do. Let's see. They assassinated our nice guy who actually talked to them peacefully, debating ideas. Then millions on the left celebrating, made clear that they want all of us dead. To be honest, I want a peaceful national divorce. Our country is too far gone and too far divided. And it's no longer safe for any of us. What will come from Kirk being martyrs already happened. It is a spiritual revival of bringing the kingdom of Christ. It will happen on the outside, not within the walls of our government. Democrats are hardened with their beliefs and will flip the switch back as soon as they have power. Don't worry, Republicans will do that too. How some Texas teachers are fighting the 10 Commandments law in classrooms. As public schools begin hanging posters of the religious doctrine in classrooms, some teachers are finding creative alternatives to sidestep or dodge the legislation. Another thing, stop going to sending your kids to school. Secede from the public school foundation, this organization, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it was pretty much based on communistic principles. It's a pillar of communism. And you'll see, quote unquote, conservatives don't care about, they'll send their kids to the communist schools without thinking about it. Oh, and since we're on the schools and everyone's blaming the school for the shooting, blah, blah, blah. Yes, there's a public education problem. They also have been indoctrinating us little ones from the moment we're little brains of mush to now to the hate that we're one nation thing. And you still see, especially Catholics, talk about one nation, one nation, one nation. The United States has not and never has been a nation, period. Close the book, end of story. Look at Article 7 of the Constitution. It does not, and look at any founding document of the founders. There is nothing that says this is one country or one nation. Federal Republic, period. Done. Republic of Republics. And don't worry, I got J.D. Thiel talking about the 330 million people in this country. If you think that, just call yourselves Russia and start eliminating the states like a good commie. Maybe I'll start telling people that. You're embracing a communist propaganda if you think this is a one nation. I thought we were supposed to be against communism at all forms, all levels. Why do we embrace one nation thing? How many times I have to tell people that this is not a nation thing, one nation, one nation, one nation, that the power resides in the states, and you can fix all this if you start focusing that. But no, we got to vote federal for DC every 2 to 4 years and then complain that nothing changes. And we wonder why nothing changes, because we do the definition of insanity every 2 to 4 years, thinking it's going to change, and nothing ever changes. And then they yell at me saying I'm a crazy person for saying we need a divorce. Back to this. Here's video of Trump put it out, the latest Venezuela boat that we blew up. This morning, on my orders, the U.S. military forces conducted a second kinetic strike against positively identified extraordinary violent drug trafficking cartels and narco-terrorists in the Southcom area of responsibility. The strike occurred while these confirmed narco-terrorists from Venezuela were in international waters transporting illegal narcotics, a deadly weapon and poisoning Americans, headed to these United States. These extremely violent drug traffickers cartels posed a threat to U.S. national security, foreign policy, and vital U.S. interests. The strike resulted in 3 male terrorists killed in action, murdered in action. We're fine with that murder. No U.S. forces were harmed in the strike. Be warned, if you are transporting drugs that can kill Americans, we are hunting you. The illicit activities of these cartels have wrought devastating consequences. You cannot take my cornbread. If you do take my cornbread, there will be consequences, repercussions. I know. I got ADD. I started. You ever seen the movie Life? That was the cornbread scene on American communities for decades, killing millions of American citizens. No longer. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So again, it's okay if we murder anybody in a boat in the open seas in international waters if we think that they have drugs on it. We've already talked about this. Venezuela is not a drug pushing, and look at the size of it. It's a fun little boat. And on top of that, this is about oil. Live updates. Trump says U.S. conducted strike on alleged drug cartel boat from Venezuela. Senate to vote on Trump's Fed nominee. Back to the weather. Here's Brian Kilmeade. A Fox News anchor says, quote, or voluntary lethal injection or something just to kill them, about people living on the streets live on air. This is the dehumanization that comes from this. This is what political violence looks like. He literally says, or voluntary injections or something just to kill them. As Orwell Huxley's ghost says, these are the people who need to be removed from their jobs. Amen, sister. Apparently, Brian comes back and says, I wrongly said homeless persons should get lethal injections. I apologize for that extremely callous remark. I'll show you the punishment he got right there. You go on there, put a big tweet on saying you want to kill homeless people, or inject them, see if you have your job tomorrow. Give it a shot. Brian Kilmeade has a $7-figure salary at Fox. Crickets. Oh, we gotta go. We gotta fire that teacher. Not like that. Not saying that anybody that says, something horrible about somebody being shot, nothing, dancing in the streets or anything like that. Well, we not consistent. Where's these same cheerleaders that are calling for all these teachers to get thrown out, or healthcare people that get lose their jobs? Or as one guy we put out last week that we talked about, that the guy goes, he wants their businesses closed, them thrown out in the street, pretty much their lives ruined. Why not Bill Clinton? Brian's okay. Brian's where's his? You got an immunity pass? I'm just saying. I'm not asking for Brian to get kicked out. I don't care one way or the other. Just be consistent. We definitely don't have that. Hey, it's like someone brought up about John McCain. There's a lot of people that talked about John McCain when he died, that the quote, the world's a better place. We are not consistent. It's all emotional on everything. Poll, capitalism is out and socialism is in. The movement is gaining popularity among Democrats, a left-leaning group found. Socialist brands on the rise, according to recent polling, fueling the left flank of the Democratic Party to argue its ideology is becoming more mainstream. By the way, if someone says fake the left versus right or anything like that, or the progressive left, notice they won't say the progressive right. Guess who's also on the right? The progressives are also on the right. You have a progressive left and a progressive right. Newsflash, they're both progressive. After FDR, they're all progressive. The communists got changed into the word progressive because it got a bad rep to it. Just like the Pledge of Allegiance, the original pledge was you put your arm out like this, look up the photos. And then some guy named Adolf thought, hey, that was a good idea. Let's do that too. Got the idea from the Pledge of Allegiance. Hey, another socialist, one of my boys put that thing together. They started doing that. And then these the people over here said, no, we can't be doing that. That's a bad thing. All right, now, hand over the heart. Same thing with communists. Communists didn't like the rep they were getting on here, so they had to get a branding change. Progressives, the progressive right and the progressive left. Wait a minute. You mean there's no party for communists, conservatives? That's exactly right. There is 0.0 party affiliation for conservatives. If you're quote unquote a conservative, and you think the GOP is going to be your party to go to, I'm sorry to tell you, you're dead wrong. Do you think it's going to be the Democrat Party? I'm sorry to tell you, you are dead wrong. Whose party you got to? There's a two-party system. It's a flawed two-party system. It's a failed two-party. It's the two-party illusion. But yet we keep doing it every 2 to 4 years. I'm a good old GOP. You're a progressive. Or you're pushing for a progressive. Or if you think that the 14th Amendment is the way to go, that's a progressive mindset too. Don't kill the messenger. Just look at it. Don't question everything. Look it up. You'll find it. It is me. Suspect in Charlie Kirk shooting appeared to confess in Discord chat. 22-year-old suspect in Kirk's killing appears to have confessed to friends in an online chat shortly before turning himself into law enforcement, because that's what you should do. You do this, you dodge people, and then you go on Discord and say, I did it. OJ did that, didn't he? According to 2 people familiar with the chat and screenshots obtained by the Washington Compost. Hey guys, I've had bad news for you all. Sent a message on the account belonging to the suspect, Tyler Robinson, on the online platform Discord. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all this. The message was sent Thursday night, about 2 hours before officials said Robinson was taken into custody. A member of the group chat shared the image of the conversation with the post and confirmed that it came from Robinson's account. The person spoke on a condition of anonymity, of course, to protect their privacy and out of fear of harassment. Of course. Trust me, some guy sent it in. Who is it? We can't tell you. Discord provided a copy of the message with the confession to authorities, according to a person familiar with the company's interaction with law enforcement. Tyler Robinson's grandmother says their entire family are Republicans. I don't know a single Democrat. Tyler Robinson's grandmother speaking out in defense of her grandson, who is accused of killing Charlie Kirk on Wednesday at Utah Valley University, UVU in Orem. Grandmama, remember Grandmama, LJ? Grandmama of Tyler Robinson, 22-year-old who allegedly shot Kirk, spoke out for the first time Friday, claiming there's no way her quiet and reserved grandson killed the conservative activist. Speaking to the Daily Mail, Debbie Robinson, 69, claimed she never heard Taylor Robinson discussing politics, despite his father's support for it. Once and future Kane President DJT, sorry, I got my eyes itchy, whom Taylor Robinson dressed as for Halloween in 2017. My son, his dad, is a Republican for Trump. Debbie Robinson told the outlet, most of my family members are Republican. I do not know a single one who is Democrat. I am just so confused. Kirk, 31, was shot in the neck. Okay. Debbie's son said her son has not returned a call since news broke, identifying him as a suspect in Kirk's assassination. Still, she firmly rejects the idea that her grandson could be involved, claiming that she has never seen him handle a gun, let alone possess one. I don't think he's ever shot a gun, to tell you the truth, she said. He doesn't hunt. He's never liked anything like that. I don't know if he's even owns a gun. There's no way he could have been that good of a shot, Debbie Robinson said. Somebody shut Debbie up. She's killing the narrative. Taylor Robinson allegedly left behind ammunition, engraved messages referencing fascism, video games, and obscure internet memes, officials said on Friday. Debbie also refuted reports that her grandson could have issues with his mental health, calling him just a very shy, good guy. There's no way he could be violent. There's absolutely no way he did it. I watched the child grow up. I can't imagine that ever would be him. I'm not just saying that as his grandma. I just knowing him that as I do. Authorities have not yet confirmed the motive from shooting because they're still on the process of making it up. Did I say that out loud? FBI investigating social media accounts that appear to indicate foreknowledge of Kirk assassination. I read that article and went, Gideon AI would definitely work well for this. That is, if it's legit, of course, because if it's not legit, then they got to go in and make it up and then say, hey, we found some stuff, hacking type deal stuff. The FBI, who everyone trusts now, question mark, is investigating social media posts by at least 7 different accounts that appear to indicate foreknowledge of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, according to 3 people familiar with the investigation and screenshots obtained by the Washington Free Beacon. The post, one of which referenced the date of Kirk's assassination, September 10th, more than a month before it took place, were all deleted in the days following the killing. Here it is, supposed to be mushy. Man. Another account posted on August 6th. I plead the 5th. I don't know. I question all this. Suspect in Charlie Kirk killing is not cooperating with authorities. Governor says, well, somebody got to make him get. You better cooperate. We're trying to put a murder on you, man. You should cooperate. 20-year-old suspect behind the assassination, conservative activist Charlie Kirk, is not cooperating with investigators. Utah Governor Spencer Cox and 2 law enforcement officers said. Oh, speaking of this, you know how many people you see out there that can't wait to see his head this Taylor kid's head blown off or executed or something? There's guys out there tweeting, I want to see a public execution on live TV. That Catholic guys, I've seen Catholics say that. What is wrong with us, guys? I mean, let's pretend that this is everything that they're saying is true. Let's pretend everything is Steel Creek evident. None of it is, but let's pretend it is. Still, you want to see another human executed on live TV. We have lost our minds, ladies and gents. Here's Charlie Kirk's killer, Taylor Robinson, spotted kissing trans partner 2 weeks before assassination. Now, you would probably think, hey, if I watch this video, I'm going to see Taylor or someone else kissing him. No, you see this guy, Josh Camp, neighbor of Taylor, apparently saying all this. I mean, I'll scroll through it for you. He's just being interviewed. He pretty much just says that he says, one of the better comments in here is, where's it at? Let me get this straight. The one time he saw Taylor, he was wearing all black with a mask on. Okay. How was he sure that was him? The other time this kid happened to be riding by on his bike while Tyler was holding hands, kissing, and discussing his alleged partner's transition. What convenient timing. As an American, I think we deserve better psyops. Yeah, the rest of the people are just pretty bots on there, just like agreeing to whatever they say. Here's Syrian girl. Remember when Netanyahu planted a spy device on Boris Johnson's toilet? Do you think he was spying on Kirk? What do you think Kirk said? What do you think Kirk said in private? This is from the Telegraph. Bugging device found in my bathroom after Netanyahu visit, claims Boris Johnson. Former prime minister reveals the memoir that security team found. listening equipment when Israeli Prime Minister used his personal toilet in 2017. How do you find out about that? If you watch the Tim Dolan, I think it is, the kind of fat comedian guy, he did an interview with Max Blumenthal Saturday. And I watched. You start about, if you go scroll 15 minutes into that video, you'll see it. Max did it was a very fascinating job. He brings this up. Here's Benny Johnson cover-up. Discord initially claimed Kirk's assassin never used the platform to plan or promote violence. Judd Hoffman, Discord's VP of Trust and Safety, said they had found no evidence that the suspect planned this incident or promoted violence on Discord. This comes from Benny Cheerleading Johnson. This morning, Kash Patel, that guy that goes after the Epstein reports, and Don Bogdino, that guy that goes after the Epstein reports, confirmed there was Discord chat with 20 plus members, and new reporting just out reveals that Taylor Robinson, the assassin, sent the final message to the group admitting his guilt, stating he was turning himself in. Because that's what you do. You go out, you make this plan, you run from the authorities, you do some crazier stuff. I'm waiting to put it up. And then you go out and tell your daddy and go on Discord, I did it. And that's it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who buys that? And share with law enforcement. Public demands accountability and transparent. Discord must be fully investigated for covering up and potentially attempting to destroying evidence in the criminal investigation. Speaking of destroying criminal evidence, did you see how fast they got rid of the crime scene at UVU? They were taking that thing down after the cars left. Would that be destroying evidence at a criminal investigation? What? Why am I saying that? Derek's talking, and Derek's doing a thing on America's being divided in technocratic state. Yep. This was initially reported by TMZ. What do TMZ and Discord have in common? The site of Kirk's assassination has already been torn down and cleaned up. An eyewitness filmed the entire platform where he was shot being dismantled and replaced with a new one. The FBI insists the investigation is still going, except not really. But if that's true, did they already gather every piece of evidence they needed? You go to anything, you got to clean up that crime scene as fast they could. Here's our boy, Kash Patel right here. As Jimmy Dore says, get this. The shooter wrote a note that said he was going to take out Kirk, but the note was destroyed. But trust the FBI because that's what the note said. Seriously, so cartoonish that you can't make this stuff up. Let me play his own words for you because you're probably going, Steve, seriously, stop. There's no way that really happened. Where we at here? Jimmy Dore. Audio.
Did he write a written note before the assassination attempt? That's what the governor said yesterday. And what did that say? If you could.
So what I'm able to say, I'm sorry. So what I'm able to say is I addressed it partially earlier. Is that the written note we believe what did exist, and we have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
It kind of does look like Patel's cross-eyed in that. I mean, like at the end, there's, please believe that. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to laugh at that, but his face afterwards goes, I'm just spewing out a bunch of the malarkey, as Brandon would say. And he's saying at the end, please buy that. Don't ask me a follow-up. I can't keep going anymore. What in the world did you just hear? Here's another. This goes on to just another level of insanity. Again, stop me when it makes sense. Here, as Health Ranger said, Oh, well, I'll go with the first one. FBI Director Kash Patel says DNA from towel wrapped around the suspect Kirk assassination weapon and from screwdriver left on the rooftop. Both match the suspect Tyler Robinson. As the question is, so how did he reasonably get how did he reassemble the gun in the woods without the screwdriver? Show of hands. Tell me, somebody. Health ranger, screwdriver is left on the roof. The assembled gun is found in the woods. Reassembling the white rifle requires a screwdriver. So next, is the FBI going to tell us that the shooter reassembled the rifle, they didn't need to, then climbed back onto the roof to leave the screwdriver there? I mean, come on. Here it is.
Today, that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody. And I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody. And I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA.
I already played it. Valhalla. You know what? I was hoping for a Wakanda Forever. Just have some fun with it a little bit. I guess. Let me get back to share screen. Here we go. See, I have to share the individual screen for you to hear anything from it. I can't just do the generic one. Yeah, the gun was. All right. So again, Sean, with the narrative is they say it was taken apart. I mean, you could be right. Their narrative is he disassembled it on the roof, put some of it in his backpack, shoved the other part in his pants, jumps off the roof, runs, try to avoid authorities, stops in the middle of the field to smell the daisies for some reason, I guess, reassembles the rifle, puts it back in a box, wraps it up, puts the ammo around where it's got the writings on there, and then takes off to go tell daddy and then put on Discord that he did it. He did. Meanwhile, and don't forget about the wardrobe change, because the first change, he's got a red shirt on. Oh boy. And then changed it to a black shirt. Man, after you keep making, these guys keep making stuff up, it's going to get weirder and weirder. Here's that great one by Jason Bassler. Trust me, bro, plus confirmation bias, the ultimate rage bait cocktail for low effort thinkers. The Epstein cover-up crew told me it was just a crazy 22-year-old lone wolf leftist, and I believe him. And notice that the lone wolf thing is now being questioned. They're now saying 20 people in. And give it a time, they're going to say the entire state of New Mexico was involved in this. I'm sorry for New Mexico. I'm not trying to pick on you. Here's Candace Owens reveals details about a private Hamptons meeting that Charlie Kirk had with Bill Ackman, another pro-Israel mega donor. She claims threats were made after Kirk purportedly turned down Israeli money. As he says, disturbing if true. Max Blumenthal reported on this. Candace says, if you watch the whole interview with Candace, because God bless, a lot of people, mostly in the Catholic realm, they're only talking about that Charlie was pretty much on the verge of converting to Catholicism. Great. Max brings that up too, saying that was another thing that they didn't like, that the Jews didn't like, were the Zionists, because they didn't look at it as the Judeo-Christian thing. They were looking at Charlie. Just watch the Max Blumenthal thing and Candace's long form one. They said they didn't like that he was moving away from the Zionist, the Israelis war, the Protestant version of Israel moment, because he was so good with the college kids that Bibi loved looking at him as that thing. As remember, after 9/11, Bibi said 9/11 was good for Israel. He's acting that way again. And she goes after Bibi a couple times on the thing. And she threatens to bring out receipts on everything that happened. I hope she does. It'd be fantastic for her just to, shine the light on everything right there. What was I saying with that? The Bill Ackman thing. One of the things that I mentioned at the beginning with MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Ackman apparently did not like that Kirk was inviting MTG on to talk about most favored nation, because she is not a fan of Israel and what they're doing in Gaza. She's actually called it out. They didn't like that. Here is Bill Ackman this afternoon with Candace Owens slandered me with accusing me of staging the intervention of Charlie Kirk, blah, blah, blah. It's a long thread that he puts out. Look at it if you want to look at it, but he basically says that he didn't do it. Trust me. And as Max Blumenthal has it right here. Ackman a few hours ago to me, the story is totally false. I think I can easily put this to bed. I have receipts, as they say. Ackman just now. A vaguely worded confirmation of my report, but without acknowledging its existence. This is there right here. Because here's Max on there. Zionist billionaire Bill Ackman hammered Charlie Kirk during the August intervention at the Hamptons for platforming critics of Israel at TPUSA events. Max reports Ackman, according to multiple sources, had this meeting to basically bully Kirk into submission. Kirk walked away, according to one person, feeling like there was an attempt to blackmail him. He refused any offers of funding and also refused to offer the travel to Israel and meet with Netanyahu. Because remember, Bibi said, if you do that, I will fund you to the, to the atmosphere or levels you never had. I mean, they already have it. 80s, hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars, at least 80. So, I mean, can always use more, I guess. But good on him for turning that down. He was moving away from the Zionist ideas, as we've said. Here's the long one. Let me see. Well, I'll play some of that.
Kirk, Max, you've been doing unbelievable investigative reporting. What have you learned?
Well, following my September 12th report, which provided background about the pressure, the mounting pressure that Charlie Kirk was under from pro-Israel forces, from Netanyahu's cutouts in the United States, I gathered more details. The piece, it hit like a sledgehammer. It really caused a lot of, I think it spoke for a lot of people, particularly within the conservative movement, which is changing among the youth on the question of Israel. And more people started coming out, and more people started talking, and people were talking to me. And these were people who had knowledge of a tumultuous, stormy meeting held in the Hamptons during the first week of August, convened, according to multiple sources, with knowledge of this meeting, intimate knowledge of this meeting, by the billionaire ultra-Zionist financier Bill Ackman, who was close to Netanyahu and his kind of network in the United States. Charlie Kirk was summoned along with an array of young, sort of vapid, very avaricious conservative influencers who seemed to be sort of in Israel's back pocket to set a very pro-Israel tone for this meeting. And Charlie Kirk was, according to one source, hammered by Ackman and others for allowing Israel critics, very prominent conservative voices like Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, or the anti-Zionist Jewish comedian Dave Smith to appear at his events. And actually, Charlie Kirk was planning to host many of these same figures again in December, and he had just added to his TPUSA major, I think it's called America Fest in December, the premier critic of Israel in Congress. I didn't say Republican critic, I just said premier critic, because that's what she is now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, which really reflected his shifting views. And Ackman, according to multiple sources, had this meeting to basically bully Charlie Kirk into submission. Charlie Kirk walked away, according to one person, feeling like there was an attempt to blackmail him. He refused any offers of funding and also refused the offer to travel to Israel and meet with Netanyahu, which Netanyahu disclosed in the wake, the immediate wake of Netanyahu's death. He talked about this letter, but he didn't say whether Charlie Kirk refused or accepted. I've learned since that he refused. And then beyond that, he was becoming so alienated by this crowd of pro-Israel enforcers, that he was moving away from the Protestant church. This is what I've been told. Candace Owens just disclosed this on her live stream. And, he was a Protestant who, as a young conservative voice, and, I believe in evangelical Christian.
He was a Christian nationalist by his own words.
Yes. And he was pushing the idea of this Judeo-Christian alliance. And that was like music to the ears of the pro-Israel funders. But
Right.
now he was starting to attend Catholic Mass with his wife, Erica, and moving in a different direction, what Candace Owens called a spiritual transformation. And the Catholics just don't have that same conceptualization of American Christian nationalism and the Judeo-Christian alliance.
Correct.
This has never been, I don't think it's been reported before. So he was undergoing a transformation, a singular figure in the Trump world, unreplaceable, sort of a unique figure in that world. And he was moving on this question, and there really wasn't anything they could do to stop him, because you couldn't just, I'm sure there would have been an attempt, and there already was, through figures like Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin at Fox News, to attack him and sort of suggest maybe he should be removed. But you can't really just remove someone like that who's built this entire gigantic infrastructure around himself. So we really don't know where things would have.
Interesting for watch the entire thing. I only played you a few minutes of that, but again, listen to all that, you're gonna like, and you know what? The FBI is right. Some 22-year-old Mormon did all this by himself with two patsies in the crowd and change of clothes and left screwdriver, and yeah. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino confirms there were multiple warning signs ahead of Tyler Robinson's assassination of Charlie Kirk. There appear to be many warning signs. It appears from the data we've made up or accumulated, and the channel, and then that of the note that doesn't exist anymore, that we never saw, but we know it's there, which we have some evidence may have existed before based on the communications in that channel. So we don't have translation. We have no clue, but just take that as fact, okay? That this target was obviously going to be Charlie, and that people knew in advance. There were people in his network, friends and family, who have stated that we have become more political, and he became that he had become at some parts. I believe some of his coworkers have stated that he had detached himself from the topic of politics, came up, and walked away from him. Thank you, Dan. Go find Epstein. Here's former FBI agent says video games can desensitize to the point where that person involved in these games looks at other people and they're not even human beings. They're simply avatars. Yeah, nothing like, where's it at over here? Nothing like that, right? No. We have drone bombings, drones and all that. Yeah, it's just the shooters. It can't be the military that has anything to do with it. No, again, the consistency thing of that. All right, play the argument. Okay, that's the thing. If the official narrative, okay, yeah, video games do make it. The first person shooter above thing. All right, then explain why the military uses it. Can't have it both ways. Here's Daniel McAdams. There's a very clear line being drawn between the patriots and the traitors. Act accordingly. Ian Jagger, House Speaker Mike Johansson has blocked Representative Thomas Massey's amendment to reverse the government from being able to use propaganda on U.S. citizens. Let me say that again. Thomas Massey's amendment to reverse the government from being able to use propaganda on U.S. citizens. That was blocked. So they can use propaganda on U.S. citizens. That's 4 out of 22. Yeah, remember, 400. That's coming up next. Don't worry. By the way, since you didn't know what happened today, as James Lee says, they're not even hiding it anymore. Israel owns America. The 50 states and one Israel party, or whatever they called over there in Israel. Here's RT. He goes, you won't see anything stranger today. American lawmakers, Democrats, and Republicans performed a serenade of Somewhere Over the Rainbow at the 50 states, one Israel delegation in Israel? Too many questions. Who is the person that Candace referencing when she says the individual wants to slide into Charlie's seat? I would, total guess, I would say that's who. What's his face? Shapiro talking. And she says she's going to bring up more evidence on all this stuff, but I would wager to say, Matthew, that she's talking about Shapiro. Because remember, she mentioned then that people were acting like he was BFFs with everybody, and like Bibby was on. By the way, that interview with Bibby with I can't remember the lady's name. The interview with Bibby on Fox News, she is pretty much the dumbest person in that industry. And they know it. That's why they put her on there. She is never going to question anything that Bibby says. She's going to be like, that's it. And she's just a zombie would probably have been better to have that interview with Bibby. At least the zombie would at least known, hey, that's a zombie. You were watching somebody else pretty much just said, you're going to sit there, you're going to be the head on this this interview for Bibby, and you just nod and save these questions that we give you, and we'll have a good day. Capiche? Capiche. Yeah. I won't turn on the Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but if you want to turn it on, maybe On Eagle's Wings would be even better. Let me play, since we're in Divergent, I'm playing more video sounds. I'll play this one from James. I know I said I wasn't going to play it. I'll talk over it.
50 states, one Israel. What is that? Well, the state of Israel just posted this on their Instagram a few hours ago. Quote, the 50 states, one Israel delegation has landed in Israel. 250 American legislators will spend the coming week in Israel and experience it as it truly is by doing this kind of thing, which I guess is required for all U.S. government officials. Okay, I just want to point out to everybody that.
Yeah. Okay. I have the tweet for this too. While everyone was not paying attention on this, the Epstein file, they had a vote the next day on September 11th for the Epstein thing. It got blocked. Anyway, I'll let James do it.
That since Charlie Kirk was assassinated on September 10th, the U.S. government has blocked the Epstein files release, passed an amendment that banned the Pentagon from boycotting Israel, proposed a bill from Marco Rubio to revoke passports for critics of Israel. The House also approved $650 million for Israel's missile defense. And as you just saw there, Marco Rubio visited Israel. And now, once again, there are 250 legislators in Israel at the 50 states, one Israel delegation being serenaded with Somewhere Over the Rainbow, a song known as a Project Monarch trigger for mind control MK Ultra slaves to activate them to do bidding against their will. And this is all totally normal.
Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue. How convenient. Where and when was this said? Does she have any evidence of him saying this? Dead men tell no lies. Here's from Secretary Noem's just revealed that Kirk's final request to her before he was killed, quote, hold mayors and governors accountable for how dangerous they're making the situation for people who have to live in those cities. Again, nobody has any evidence on there. They can just say it without anything. Hey, I was told this. Now you just saw about that thing about the passport removal. It did get revoked. Passport revocation provision did not pass. Here it is right here. U.S. pushes bill to strip passports over Israel criticism. A bill introduced by Congress will let Secretary Marco Rubio revoke passports of U.S. citizens if they criticize Israel. People in 2030, because saying that killing children is bad is now anti-Semitism. Yeah. Where's the treason and what Rubio's doing? And all these guys. Here's the governor. Was it Utah Governor Spencer Cox? Yeah. Tyler Robinson, the suspect murder of Charlie Kirk, was pleaded not guilty and was refusing to cooperate with investigators. But everyone around him was cooperating, Cox told ABC News. As Orwell Huxley's ghost says, believe nothing. Where is he being held? Why did the screenshot that Crowder provided say he was released? Why is he not on any police, state, or county inmate list? Surely they booked him. Where is it listed? Besides a screenshot on social media, please. And again, it goes back to the whole, he's not participating. Would you? If you were brought in for, saying that you're the patsy for this, would you cooperate? Here's the whole thing right here again. Here's while we were all distracted, the House just passed a bill to make it illegal for U.S. defense contractors to boycott Israel. Read that again. American weapons manufacturers will now be legally bound to keep arming Israel by order of Congress. Here's the Max Blumenthal with Tim Dillon said that Donald Trump fears for his life specifically because of Israel. That during one of Bibi Netanyahu's visits this year, Secret Service discovered, quote, electronic devices in their emergency response vehicles placed by Israeli agents. Think of, remember the pagers that went off a couple months ago? Oh, it goes back to what I've mentioned before about where was it at here? Where is it? Owie, I messed it up, I guess. I thought I had it. Remember the thing? There it is. Bug-in device found in bathroom after Netanyahu visits, claims Boris Johnson. Jason Bassler, can someone explain how the right is so dead certain a 22-year-old lone wolf pulled off this high-level hit on Kirk, slipped past thousands during a mass evacuation? By the way, there was I remember you saw Taylor talked about wanting drones and things there. They had drones there. There was camera. There was like 30,000 cameras apparently on campus or something like that. They just put in new cameras apparently. Got away from all of those. Dodged every law enforcement perimeter. Then vanished for 33 hours without citing any government narratives. Show me what non-government approved evidence you have. No FBI pressers, no media parroting, no law enforcement PR, just raw, verifiable proof. Otherwise, you're simply echoing the narrative and feeding your own biases. I've had guys myself get on me. So you got me. You got it. I mean, you're speaking these speaking. Not everything's a what do you call it? Conspiracy. All right, give me evidence. It's been 9 hours. I haven't had anybody take that challenge. But hey, they tell me I'm supposed just to believe the FBI. The same people that, and I'll tell them, all right, the media's right, and the FBI is right, government's right. Muzzle up. They told you to muzzle. They said muzzles help. Get the jab too. They say that. Stop questioning them. Start getting jabbed. Because whatever the TV tells you is the gospel truth. You should never question anything or consider anything else. Just here's what it is. Don't mind us if nothing in the narratives adds up to anything at all, or there's holes everywhere, or there's a screwdriver here, and there's a car here, and there's a pretzel here. We have a document, but it doesn't exist. But we saw it. Trust me. The Epstein files are on my desk. Come on, guys. The right went from question vaccines to don't trust the government, and don't trust the government to I can't get the approval narrative from daddy government injected into my bloodstream fast enough, all in just 5 years. What happened? Here's Office Depot in Michigan is flat out refusing to print out Kirk tribute posters for vigils tonight. They call it propaganda. And they go, and he says, these people need to be fired now. Now, remember back in the day when some guy, I was out in Colorado at the time, and remember the LGBT folks going after the guy making the cake? And everybody's like, oh, he's got to get fired. No. Business has the right to refuse whatever. Yeah. We were in our side was standing behind the baker. You can refuse that. And the wedding people and all those guys that LGBT they were targeting to go. Now it's reversed. Remember the whole reverse thing. Now it's fire those people. Now we are the LGBT guys yelling at somebody to lose their job over it. You know what? If something like that, and I've seen plenty of Catholics tell it too. Same over this posters thing. You know what the way to do this is? You go to the manager. You get up, say, hey, Mr. Manager here, Tracy or whatever, Karen. What you want to name her? Karen is refusing to do this poster. Okay, either the manager tells her, pulls her to the side, goes, hey, stop being an idiot, make the posters, or you're fired, you're not doing your job, or you can go find somewhere else to do it. I guarantee if you go on Vistaprint right now, they will make you the posters. I guarantee you find somewhere else, Home Depot, whatever, and then maybe Home Depot is not the right one. Was this office? This was Office Depot. I don't know. Lowe's wouldn't do it. I'm sure somebody will find. If you just find someplace else, just do that. But no, we got it there. Oh yeah, here's the Max Blumenthal report. Zionists refuted by Charlie Kirk. This was today. Yeah, this was today. Let's see. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. Trump promotes a Charlie Kirk Act. Ray Charles saw this coming to establish a ministry of truth. And you know how many people this thing was trending. This was sad. That's why I almost clicked the record button. This thing was trending. And all your Catholic buddies out there were going, oh, we need the Charlie Kirk Act. There's a hole. There should be a hole in the wall for me hitting it the other day. I mean, it was almost like guys were out trying to cheerlead I love Kirk more than you. We need this Kirk. We talked about. I mentioned you're going to have a Kirk act. It's going to be a technocratic act from Hades. I won't get too far in. I won't read too much of it because sometimes she'll go up and just drop a couple 4-letter words and all this and there. So I'll see if there's a couple places. This talks about the Smith-Mundt Act. Had nothing to do with holding news corporations accountable to lines of American people. It was a Cold War era law which prohibited official U.S. government propaganda created by institutions like the State Department and the U.S. AGM from being dismantled domestically. This law was controversially revised under the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012 in the name of combating al-Qaeda propaganda campaigns in these United States. Returning Smith-Mundt to its original iteration would be a fine idea. American right-wingers tend to make a bigger deal about the changes made under the Obama administration than is actually warranted. Anyone who remembers the lead up to the Iraq invasion knows the U.S. government had no trouble getting immensely consequential propaganda circulated throughout the American press prior to 2013. But anything that inhibits the U.S. government's ability to disseminate propaganda to Americans might be somewhat helpful and couldn't hurt. But this isn't what the Charlie Kirk Act is advocating. Smith-Mundt placed restrictions on what the U.S. government is allowed to do with regard to propaganda, while the proposed Charlie Kirk Act would give the U.S. government sweeping new powers to decide what does and does not constitute propaganda and untruth and administer penalties accordingly. One limits the U.S. government's ability to manipulate public information, while the other explicitly expands it. Nobody anywhere is claiming that propaganda generated by the U.S. State Department or U.S. AGM projects like Voice of America got Kirk assassinated by calling him a Nazi. They're talking about creating a new law to stomp out the free speech of media outlets, radio stations, educators, and content creators. Again, here it was, trending. The night she says, without clicking on it, that it's going to be about something nightmarishly dystopian and authoritarian. The other issue, of course, is giving the government the authority to penalize propaganda and lies by means giving the government the authority to determine what constitutes propaganda and lies. Didn't we learn anything during the 2020 times? No. They decide it's a lie to say Israel is committing genocide in Gaza, for example, or it's propaganda to say the U.S. shouldn't be waging a proxy war in Ukraine. The Charlie Kirk Act is being pushed in the name of fighting propaganda, but it would actually be given the U.S. government unprecedented authority over what Americans are permitted to say on any platform. Don't worry, keep reading if you want. It's only got a few more paragraphs. I'm going to keep going, but hey, again, you want your act, you're going to like it, and it's going to be smack somebody that says something like this. It's all emotional rubbish that these people are going, we can't wait for the Charlie. You don't know what I told a friend of mine and about, why is Marshall, pushing for the Charlie Kirk Act? And the response was, he has no clue, and it would affect somebody like him. Yeah, it would. But because it's emotion, we could just go ahead and push it. Oh, here, Marco Rubio and Mike Huckabee prayed at the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem alongside Prime Minister and war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu. This was September 14th. Was it Saturday? Yeah. Catholic Rubio on the exaltation of the cross is out there putting his hand to a wall. Here's sitting vice president stepping in, the host of the talk show days after the host was assassinated, as he says the merger of state and media laid bare. I thought exactly that. Everybody was like, "Oh yeah, can't wait." JD Vance, is doing the Charlie Kirk show. JD announced he will host the Charlie Kirk show on Monday. He has some good lines, like he said he did announce the Nicene Creed. The millions of souls who tune in to watch the special episode of the Kirk show. This is a real turning point. Return to Christ and His church. You know what I would like to see JD say, I'm getting rid of Peter Thiel. I know I don't have to have him declare Nicene Creed on the show. Fine, it's great. It's easy when it's your own guys that you're talking to. Piece of cake. Get rid of get rid of Peter Thiel, JD. I want to see him do that. He ain't got the stones to do that one. And it says, with our side, while our side, the aisle certainly has its crazies, it is a statistical fact that most of the lunatics in the American politics today are proud members of the far left. Anyway, I was trying to find the phrase when he said it's in that, I promise, because I reposted. Notice he says, in a country of 330 million. I keep going. Good grief, that's a false idea. He says truth, but then when it says truth, is that this is not a country as a one nation. If you accept 330 million for a country, guess what? You have no representation at the federal level. Zero. Because it's statistically, as he keeps on saying, it's statistically impossible to have representation when it's 800,000 to 1. That's when you get blanket carpet. It's a civil war, 2 to 4 years. Every 2 to 4 years, one team, one faction fighting another faction for complete control over DC. My team hates your team. You guys, you're battling off. Boom, 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 boom. Cage match. You hate your neighbor who posted the other guy's boards out on their lawn. You don't like it. They kick it over. You end up. It's why? Because politics is now the religion of everyone. Most people love it. It's their religion. Notice the people posting about, oh, everyone's going to church now because Kirk got killed. Okay, that won't last for a couple of weeks. Mostly it was a Protestant thing. But he's a martyr for the state. He's a martyr. He's a martyr. He's a martyr. He's a martyr. You got to wait a time out. What is it? And then the hatred. Why do you hate the other guy? Because they're going to get rid of Roe. Mm-hmm. What? That's it? Why do you hate this? Because they're going to enact actually it's 50 plus 1, and whatever your team wins, you always because you see it in the politics of what are you going to do for me? What are you going to do for these guys? And you're going to take these guys down. We're going to fix what these guys doing. My way or the highway. For everybody. No matter if you live in Jersey, Florida, Idaho, Arizona, wherever. Blankets, and that's why people are angry. They don't want one size fits all government. That's why you have states. That's why there are states. Again, that's why this isn't a nation. It's a federal republic, a republic of republics. So you have these entities that are different. And if you want someplace, this place seems a little bit mine, and it's got a beach. I love it. I'm moving there. I don't like the beach. I don't like this. I don't like what these people are. I'm going to go where the mountains are. I like the people that run there. Even though the politics are, I like these politics. The laws are different from these laws. That's how you get it. Now, if you don't want that, you want one size fits over, again, call us Russia Junior and be done with it. Get rid of the states. Knives were out for embattled FBI Director Kash Patel. Despite Trump's support, Patel sought meeting with Trump following blunders as new co-deputy begins work next week. Elon Musk delivers ominous message at far-right rally. Violence is coming and you either fight back or you die. This was in England. He was doing a message about, it was Tommy Robinson, a far-right activist who organized Saturday's protest. By the way, there's a lot of issues with this Robinson guy. I remember talking to my guy at the gym about half a year ago about him. He's not a good dude inside the daily game of drone warfare. From the front lines of Kherson with one of Ukraine's most lethal units. Trump loves AI, and the MAGA world is getting worried. Trump's White House is all in on building powerful American artificial intelligence. The populist base is starting to push back. U.S. drone dilemma. Why the most advanced military in the world is playing catch up on the modern battlefield? That's good to hear, isn't it? Not only is it drone, but they're behind in the drones. Little known think tank pushing Trump to replace the federal workforce with AI. I mean, I can't see anything wrong with that. Surely they won't do anything like, I don't know, social credit scores. That's right. I went to get we got a car that has a key fob. You know what those are. The battery died in the one for my wife. So I went in to go get the battery changed. I was joking with the guy and he goes, I go, why can't we just get a key? Real key. And he goes, just wait till you have to open your car with your eyes, with facial recognition. I go, oh man, dude, I read about stuff and I never thought about that. He goes, yeah, those things are coming. And if you don't have the social credit score, your car will not open up. Not even not drive to it. It will not open up. Oh, another one. Here's one. It's there's a TV series, NCIS, Shiva and Tony. And it's about, if you've seen the original NCIS, the Tony and Shiva relationship. So they brought it back again because I guess the numbers are down. My wife loves those characters. So we were watching it. There's a scene in there where the car gets hacked because the facial recognition in the car sees another hacker who is targeted for termination. And the car speeds up to try to run him over. They can't stop the thing. Then they're the next targets. So every car in the neighborhood has a camera on it, sees them, turns on, and is starting to is literally trying to run over anybody to get to them. We don't think about things. I'm watching that going, holy cow, that literally can't happen. Today it could happen. JD Vance vows crackdown on festering violence from far left while hosting Charlie Kirk show because we have to make it our team versus their team. California lawmakers passed bill that would ban masks. Already had that. Sorry for the double. A security robot failed in New York City. New York City. Yes, New York City. Now it's trying to protect downtown Kansas City. Once booming Santa Monica faces a dire fiscal crisis. The surprising way it got there. Camera trap in Chile detects strange lights blazing through the wilderness. Researchers are scrambling to explain them. Pope Leo takes swipe at Elon Musk's wealth. Quote, we're in big trouble. You'll say, yes, yes, we're in big trouble. We're in huge trouble. And everybody likes the guy. And everybody likes Elon. I think he just got $1 billion in his stock today. Ram cancels all electric pick-em-up truck plan, citing slowing demand. Don't worry, they'll force it on us still. And in today's, this day in history, 1821, Central Americans granted independence. On this day, 1821, Central American notables accepted a plan drafted by the Mexican Cordero Agustin de Iturbide that brought independence from Spain to Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. Another secession movement. 2004, American rock guitarist Johnny Ramone, who co-fronted the Ramones, a band that influenced the rise of punk rock, died at age 55. Prince Henry Rails was born in London today in 1984. Muhammad Ali won the World Heavyweight Boxing Championship for the third time over Leon Spinks in 1978. Members of the KKK bombed the predominantly African-American 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, killing 4 girls today in 1963. And the original KKK was a response to a group called the Union League. If you want to look up the Union League, look it up. It's the only book on it is by a guy from New York that writes about what the Union League is. There's not much about it. The original Klan protected the citizens, say like in North Carolina. The Union League was burning down areas all over the place. In Gaston County itself, they burnt in my county I live in 5 farms that I know of. People were living up with gun pistols underneath. What the governor, the carpetbagger governor of North Carolina at the time, literally had it was a group of a black man. It's like a little militia. The governor gave them matches because he said, quote, it's cheaper, and told them to burn it all down. This was the Reconstruction time. Original KKK Klan was brought up to try to protect the individuals from this league. And when it was done, when everything was over, they burnt all their uniforms, their records, all that stuff, burned them all, so no one have any record of who was who in this. This type right here was started, I think, in Illinois. Illinois is a northern thing that started up. Colorado had a big thing. I brought that up in how the faith came to Colorado. They had a big group out in Colorado. It was specifically in the north. It did come down to the south because that's what they do. But yeah, the original was not like the 1960 version. United Nations troops landed in South Korea, crippling North Korea invasion during the Korean War in 1950. I know, by the way, I guarantee that's something most of you have never heard of before. Look it up, Union League. Just type it in. The book is called Washington's KKK. It's amazing the evil those guys did. The Lone Ranger, originally a radio series, debuted on TV with Clayton Moore as the renegade lawman and Jay Silverhills as Tonto in 1949. The Nuremberg Laws, designed by Adolf Hitler to fry Jews and forbade them, the Nuremberg Laws were passed in Germany today in 1935. In 1916, a tank was used for the first time in combat by the British during World War I. During the American Civil War, Confederates under General Stonewall Jackson captured Harper's Ferry, Virginia, now in West by God, Virginia, and took more than 12,500 prisoners, the largest Union surrender in the war in 1862. In 1590, Giambattista Castagna was elected Pope as Urban VII. He died of malaria 12 days later. That's it for that. Eric, God love you guys for sticking on with me. Wow, it's an hour and 20 minutes. Forgive me for being too long. Have a great rest of the night. I got a couple more things to do on my end. God love you. Check out sensefidelity.t for the app. Have a great rest of the day. See you tomorrow.